Frank and Jules are still with us. Jules, how much was that defeat against West Ham an anomaly when it came to the attack, or how much is a concern for Arsenal, and therefore how much are they looking to make a change in January?
I was at the game last night. I think the answer is a bit of both, really, and it's not us sitting on the fence. I think it's true. They had enough chances. They should have scored. I think Areola was really good in goal for West Ham. They were a bit inefficient. The Saka chance, for example. The two Saka chances, they had him, and then when he hit the post, Gabriel Jesus, we're not going to go back on through the whole game. It was a very low block, because when West Ham take the lead, especially away from home against a big team, this is what usually they do, and they defend really well, really deep, but really well. You have to give them credit for that. They didn't do many passes, but they had that. But you could also look at it and say, if you had maybe a better goal scorer or more of a goal scorer, would he have scored a goal in that game? Yes, of course, maybe. But again, you take Gabriel Jesus out of this team and you put an Osimhen in, for example. I get it that Osimhen is a proper finisher, he's a proper number 9. Gabriel Jesus does a lot of other things that Osimhen doesn't do. Take the Saka header in the first half that Areola saves well at 1-0 down. The cross comes from Jesus. Osimhen never puts that cross in, because Osimhen doesn't drop deeper like Jesus doesn't turn, doesn't have the tactical skill, doesn't have that skill set anyway. So it depends what you need. But the reality is also that now Arsenal may be looking at the transfer market and who's available, who's not. They can't go and spend another 100 million on a player. This is not possible. Nobody is going to do that in January anyway. Not even City, not Liverpool, not Chelsea. Nobody was going to do that. So even if you wanted Osimhen, right now it's just not possible. So you have to maybe do things differently, or just work on your finishing and just hope that Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, by the way, has been underperforming so far this season, are just going to get better in the second half of the season.
Frank, you're waving at me.
Yes, because I was watching the game yesterday, and we talk a lot about Gabriel Jesus not scoring goals. We also talked last game about Zinchenko making silly mistakes, and again today, being in a marking position on the second goal on the corner kick, but being involved also on the first goal. It looks like Trippier nowadays. Zinchenko always involved in the Arsenal goals, but it's crazy. But those two players, Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, comes from Manchester City. That might be one reason why Guardiola decided to get rid of those two players, and I guess it's because he thought that they weren't good enough to play for Manchester City. Even if they are international players, even if they're very good players, Zinchenko is tremendous offensively, but we know the lack of talent, I would say, defensively, and we all know that Gabriel Jesus doesn't score. So it should have come to Arteta, who also been somebody at Manchester City, that if Guardiola didn't trust Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko enough to stay at Manchester City, that's because there were some issues. And now we see those issues. They signed for Arsenal. They're very good players. No way that I'm going to criticize them and think that they're rubbish. Not at all. But we are talking about the top of the top. And Zinchenko is proving right now his weaknesses defensively, and Gabriel Jesus is also showing for a little while his weaknesses offensively. So I might, knock at the doors at some people, knock at the brain of some people, saying that we might have made the wrong choices if we wanted to win the Premier League.
Do you agree, Jules?
I understand Frank's point. Gabriel Jesus is very easy. Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland are coming. There's no need for City, with Gabriel Jesus on 1 year left on his contract, to keep him. Where are you going to play? You've got Haaland, Alvarez, plus everybody else on the as a wide players. There's no room there. Arsenal want him because Arteta worked with him at City too. Arteta want that kind of number 9, by the way. He doesn't want an in and out number 9, a finisher. He wants a number 9 like Gabriel Jesus, who's going to link up the play, do everything that Gabriel Jesus is doing. So this is simple. For Zinchenko, again, I think his contract was coming to an end. It was close to an end. And also because Arteta wanted an inverted fullback, and I think for him, Zinchenko was the best one for it. While for Guardiola, I think he had a different view on Zinchenko as an inverted fullback. So I can understand Frank's point. I can also understand why Arteta went for them. Are they not good enough for Arsenal? Would they play for City? I'm not so sure. I still think they're both very good players. And even if Zinchenko is going through a more difficult time right now, he's still a very important player for that team. And we saw that in possession against West Ham, where he did a lot of really good things too.
What the problem is, Casey, is that you've got your main attacking men all out of form, it seems, at the same time. So if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm probably more optimistic than pessimistic, because I think, well, look at the quality of these players.
For
and
sure.
the return that I'm getting. Surely at some stage they're going to turn it around. By the way, we're top of the table at Christmas with people and this scoring record.
So what I've been thinking over the last couple of days, I'm thinking about the Arsenal teams that Frank and I played against. And I'm thinking there's of 4 individuals that if you add them to the talent of this team, you think of an Ian Wright.
Yep,
you put him
in his case, maybe.
But you put him in that prime, in that number 9.
Yeah.
You put an Anelka before he left for Real Madrid, and the goal scoring that he had for a couple seasons. Clearly, particularly what Jules mentioned, somebody that's going to drop a little deeper. You put a Dennis Bergkamp in that side, and they are favorites to win
There are lots
the
of
title.
old people, Casey. They can't play
Well,
anymore.
I'm not saying now. I'm saying you know what I'm talking about.
But this is the problem.
But then a Thierry Henry, they don't have a Thierry Henry.
But as Jules said, they're not going to go out and spend 100 million now. And that's what you need, don't you? You need $100 million.
They didn't spend the way that Arsene Wenger was able to bring players in, see something that nobody else saw, give them a little bit of a time to develop, and then become what they became. I mean, that's the. Of course, everybody would love to have that record, but it's clearly they're missing that guy they can count on to score 20, 25 goals a season. Now, yes, you have a great group of guys but you're still asking them to do something that they haven't consistently done in their careers. You're still waiting for them to become that person. And I know, it's what's limiting Arsenal right now from being the favorite to win the title.
But that ship sailed, isn't it, Jules? As you say, January isn't going to make a big difference for Arsenal Football Club and then winning the league, because they're not going to bring in a striker of the quality that Casey's alluding to.
No, I agree. I mean, I think they will be looking like everybody club is going to be looking. It's already quite quiet, the market. We can see that. We talked about the 2 young Brazilian coming to PSG. We talked about Vitor Roque going to Barca, although that was a deal that was done before. If you look at City, they're going to sign Claudio Echeverri, who again, 17-year-old Argentine that nobody really knew much in Europe before the Under-17 World Cup. But this is quite slow. This is really slow. Even in other countries, it's quite slow. So I think they are watching the market. But yes, we said, if you Arsenal to upgrade a position, you're already looking at 50, 60 million because you already have really good players. So 60, 70 million in January, it's not possible unless they sell, which again, I'm not sure they will. So you might have to stay with the same squad and just improve individually, collectively. You're going to share the goals, but we knew that at the start of the season. So you're hoping for what? 10 for Havertz, 15 for Jesus maybe, 15 for Saka, 10 or 15 for Martinelli, all that, which right now, some of them are on course for, like Saka, others, like Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, they're behind. So this is what Arteta has to work with. It's not, they can still win the title with their squad. It's not, obviously, it's still possible, very much so. But they also know that right now, as we saw against West Ham, if they drop a little bit the level, if they don't take their chances, defensively, they still make mistakes at times, it's going to make it more difficult.
Yeah, but you're at the halfway point right now of the season, and your leading goal scorer has 5 goals. Mm-hmm. And you're at the top of the table. So you've done everything you can possibly do at this stage right now to be there. Jesus has 3 goals. You're going to need one of them or 2 of them to double that output.
Yep.
Because we've seen in the past, we've seen what Man City have done in the second half of seasons. We know Liverpool have made tremendous runs to win the title. So they have to have a level of improvement between 3 or 4 guys to make a difference.
You know, Dan, there is for me a big problem with the scouts. You know, I mean, the people who are looking for players. You know, when I see throughout the years, the players, the strikers who've been coming into their prime, like Osimhen, Lille, Openda last year. I mean, we also Openda. If you follow the League One, you see Openda. You see him playing for Lens, and you know that he's going to score goals. And I'm wondering what Arsenal scouts, Chelsea scouts, Manchester United scouts are doing when I see Openda signing for Leipzig. I think he did. For how much, Jules? Maybe you know better than us. Don't you think it was they
40.
could afford that guy? You know, how much?
40.
40. So 40. Openda is scoring goals like, I don't know, he's buying baguettes every day, you know, in Leipzig. That's crazy. And those big clubs don't see it. They don't see it. Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, the three best clubs in the world, maybe, with Real Madrid and some others, and Manchester City. But how come you miss those kind of players? And you are in the middle of the season and say, oh, we need to buy a striker because we couldn't find. It's hard to find. Open your eyes, guys. There are some. You're going to see the striker in Lens, the new striker in Lens. I don't know. I don't have his name. Jules can help us out. That guy is going to score goals next season for another club that Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United will miss.